So how do you create a data set in SPSS? Here is an example of a data set, the Red Bull experiment. And we have different variables: participant ID, intervention, gender, reaction time, and then confidence T1 and confidence T2. So how would you go about creating such a data set? I'm going to recreate this. I'm going to hit new data. And the first thing we would do is we would create the variables, right? So as you know, if I start typing in here, for example, I say participant ID 01, it automatically labels this variable as variable 001. So we could just switch over into variable view and start creating these variables. So I'm going to replicate this. I'm going to go back over to this data set I'm trying to replicate, and I'm just going to call this participant ID, right? And now this variable is created. I'm going to go to the next one, intervention. That's created. Let's go look real quick, data view. Oh, we see we have these two variables, and you can already notice, right, there is some advantage to having short names. And that's where the label comes in. Alright, we could just call this, I'm going to copy this, we could just call this ID, and then in the label say, well, that's the participant ID, or even it's the participant identification number. Right now, if we go to data view, we can see, okay, ID is neat, doesn't have to be cut off, so that's nice. Then we'll keep going. Next one is reaction time, and then confidence T1 and confidence T2. Okay, now you notice all these types are numeric, so we can leave that. However, we could say that ID, right, although that will be number, those will be numbers, it's not necessarily a number by itself, it's more like a name, right? We can't have an average ID number, it's a label. So we could call this a string variable, or just for example, names or words or text as a string variable. So we could call this a string, and we could also say, okay, missing, there's none. We could choose alignment, and then you can see it shifted automatically. It shifted the scale level to nominal. Okay, and then we go to the intervention. We could add the label. Intervention is the label. And now you notice we have values. So we can decide what are those values. Let's go look what we have here. We go into the data view, and we can see there's ones and there's twos. Okay, let's go back and find out what exactly these mean. Right, values here, intervention. You can see, oh, 1 means Red Bull, 2 means they got a placebo. Oh, okay. So how do you do that? You go in here, you go into the values. 1 is Red Bull, and 2 is the placebo. Add. You could have said 0 is Red Bull, and add that. It doesn't matter, right? You get to choose what that means. But now SPSS will show you that 1 will be Red Bulls. Okay, then missing, do we have any missing data over here? We don't have any missing data. And then again, what measure is this? It is a nominal measure. We can specify this. Gender, same thing. Let's go gender of the participant. Let's go see what the values are for gender. 1 is female, 2 is male. Okay. So we can go in here, just gender of participant. Alright, we don't necessarily need to go in that much detail. 1 is female, add, 2 is male. Add. Okay. And then we go into reaction time. What do we have here? Nothing more being said here, except it's a scale level, right? Reaction time, the scale. We can calculate average reaction times. It's a scale level variable, and then we have confidence T1. So we can do this. What you could also do is copy, right? And for example, if you just have to copy a few things, you could do that as well to recreate another data set. And then we have here the values. 1, not confident at all. 5, very confident. We can even copy this. 1, let me see this. We can try to copy this. I'm hitting Control Copy. I'm going over here to the values and Control Paste, and that works as well. So you can do that, and because they're the same, Likert scales, we can use the values for both of these. Okay, then this also is scale level, and we have recreated our data set. So now we have the variables, right? And now to enter the data, we could manually enter the data. So let's say we have paper and pencil questionnaires. We could go and see, okay, participant 1001, intervention, it was 1, it was part of the Red Bull group. Gender, it was 1, which means it was a female. And then reaction time, we measured 2.03. And confidence, T1 was a 4, and T2 was a 5, a 3. Oh, 3, okay. And so we could go on for each of the participants, right? Type this in. Gender 2, this time that would be a male. Reaction time 0.88, and then the confidence would be 5 and 4. 5 and 4. So that will be one way to type in manual data, and it's a good way. But the thing is that sometimes people that are typing in your data do not have SPSS. So in that case, it might be preferable to do all the data entry in Excel and then import data from Excel.